Hey everyone, welcome back to a new video, or welcome to a video if this is your first time here. Thank you so much for choosing to tune in and watch our video this week. This week I just decided to finally sit down and record like all the craziness that I've been referring to that happened in the very beginning of my pregnancy. So I'm just going to start from the beginning. I'm going to try not to make this video incredibly long. So and I'm just like pulling this off the top of my head because it wasn't that long ago, but gosh, there was just so much. I'm gonna try to remember everything. But okay, so let me pull up my calendar because I have to figure out the days. Okay, so I found out that I was pregnant on November 26th. 26th. Both those days, like I took tests on both those days. So what happened was, or no, I found out on the 26th, and then I went to the, okay, so this is what happened. So I found out the 26th, and then I went to the med clinic on base the following day to get a blood test because I have to have a blood test and have to have it confirmed through the clinic to be able to go off base to like an OBGYN provider. It's just like the way TRICARE works, my insurance, so that's just, I had to do that. So I went and like I did the blood test and everything, and I was literally so early that the blood test came back negative because they said that the base clinic, like their technology is like not good enough, like so it didn't pull. So she told me to come back, so that was a Wednesday. She told me to come back that Monday because of Thanksgiving. Like Thanksgiving was the following day, and then that weekend they were like closed the rest of the week until Monday. So I was like, okay, I'll wait it out until Monday, and I thought everything was gonna go good from there. So Caleb's parents came that same day I went to the med clinic. I went that early morning, and then they got there that afternoon, and it was so hard not to say anything. We were planning to not say anything until Christmas, so we were just gonna keep it a secret. They were gonna be at our house from Wednesday to Monday. So it was like gonna be a long time to like try not to say anything. So I was fine. I had a lot of anxiety about just like keeping the secret and like just like being afraid that we were gonna slip up or anything like that. Like I was just so anxious. My stomach was just like churning the next 2 days. And then Saturday morning, November 30th, I woke up, like Caleb and I were sleeping on an air mattress in our living room because his grandparents also came, so we just gave up our bed for them. So Caleb and I were in the living room on an air mattress, and it was like 6:15ish in the morning. And I woke up and I was cramping so bad. I have never had stomach cramps the way that they, oh my gosh, they hurt so bad. And I had like bad menstrual cramps when I was younger, like really bad. So I knew like, oh my gosh, I knew that I was gonna get sick or something because they hurt so bad. So I sat up and okay, sorry, my camera died, so Jax is getting his crate. But anyway, so back to where I was. I sat up, I was trying really hard to like change positions, make the cramps go away. Like, so I got up and I went to the bathroom, and I was in so much pain. I couldn't even go to the bathroom. I couldn't even focus on like peeing or anything like that. Like I just literally could not do anything. And all of a sudden, like the room started spinning. I got very dizzy, like real heavy breathing and lightheaded, and I started to panic because I was like, oh my gosh. So Caleb must have known something was just not right because he was actually right outside the bathroom door, and he like opened the door, and like by this time I literally had not even pulled up my pants. I was just like on the bathroom floor. Like I knew I was gonna pass out. I needed to get off the toilet and lay down on the floor, or else I was just gonna conk, like, you know what I mean? So he like walked in, and I'm just laying on the bathroom floor, and he's like, are you okay? Like what's, you know what I mean, what's going on? Because I had told him that I was cramping. And so I remember telling him something's not right. Like I've never felt like this way before. Something is not right. We need to go to the hospital like right now. And so he's like, okay, well, pull up your pants. So I did, and I was like, I don't know if I can walk. Like I don't know if I can get out of this bathroom. I really felt like I was gonna pass out. So I stood up and I was walking and we got in the hallway and I was in and out. Like I just remember like in and out, not conscious at all. Like I knew something was not right. So I ended up, I let myself down on the floor. I didn't completely like pass out because I let myself on the floor. Like if I would have kept standing, I would have just blacked out. But I laid down on the floor, and Caleb's grandma used to be a nurse. So he, like the next step was just to get them to intervene. So keep in mind, I had not told them that I was pregnant, so they did not know. So gosh, the whole time my like head is racing, like all these thoughts, like, you know, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to tell them, like, it was like the worst way. So Caleb goes in, he gets his grandma, and she literally had just gotten out of the shower. Like it was a crazy mess. So she came in the hallway and she like asked me questions. She's like, when's your last menstrual cycle? And I was like, I was trying to be quiet because I was right in front of the room that Caleb's parents were like sleeping in. So I was trying to be quiet, and I looked at her and I was like, I'm pregnant. And she's like, okay, you know, like, okay. And she's like, so like how far along do you know? And I was like, I don't know, like I haven't been to the doctor. I literally just found out Wednesday, you know, and I'm in so much pain. I'm like trying to get these words out. And so Caleb kind of steps in, and I think he just kind of like explained to her, hey, anyways, I had to get up and check something. But so yeah, so ended up Caleb's mom, I guess, heard, she's gonna watch this video and be like, yeah. She heard us talking, and she heard Caleb's grandma say something like, how far along are you, or something. And so she popped up out of bed, and the way she was telling me, she was like trying to get Caleb's dad up and like tell him what was going on. Like she's like, I think, you know what I mean? Like she's trying to tell him, like, I think she's pregnant. I think I just heard her say she's pregnant. So ended up, I like told Caleb, please get the heating pad. In the midst of all this stuff, he got the heating pad. I like laid in the hallway with that. He put a pillow under my head. Like after that, when the heating pad heated up, it was like I was a completely different person. It went away. I'm not kidding. Like I felt completely fine. But of course, I was like, we still need to go and get things checked out. At this point, I hadn't been bleeding at all, so that was a really good sign that everything was still okay with the pregnancy. So I was like, something, I just don't know, you know what I mean? I've never been pregnant, I don't know. So we loaded up the car. By this time it's like 6:30 in the morning. And we drove to the hospital that's about 15 to 20 minutes away. So we drove there, and we sat there for 4 hours. It was Caleb's mom, Caleb, and me. And they just did blood and urine. They confirmed that I was pregnant. Based upon my blood levels, they said I was super early, like in the 3rd week. So it was so early. They did do an ultrasound, but I was so far, like so early in my pregnancy that they literally could not see anything. So they just came back in. They told me that there was an excess amount of fluid in there, but they couldn't confirm pregnancy was where it should be. So at that point, they were like, you need to keep watch and make sure that if this happens again, you come back, because at this point they were thinking an ectopic pregnancy, which is like, if you don't know, it's where the baby basically implants in your tube and it's not viable, it will not live. Your fallopian tube could end up bursting and you can bleed internally and die. So I was like really, really scared. So, you know, of course we were just praying, and like, oh, it was so scary. So it was just like over the course of the next few days, there was just random spurts. I would get that really, really bad cramping like I had when I woke up Saturday morning. I would literally just cry. I would scream. Like it was torture. I remember telling Caleb, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't know like what's going on, but I don't want to do this. Like I can't. I literally, guys, it hurt so bad. I wanted to like shoot myself and put myself out of my own misery. Like that sounds harsh and cruel to myself, but like, gosh, it was awful. So, I remember like throughout the day, Saturday and Sunday, it was awful, really bad pain. So then come Monday, I have to remember like exactly what happened. So I have to think about it real quick. Okay, so Monday afternoon, I like throughout the day, I had been like cramping on and off a little bit, but not really that that severe to make me have to like go back to the hospital or anything. So Caleb was on swing, so he goes to work at 3 o'clock, so he usually leaves at like 2:30. So I was in one of those really bad spells, cramping so bad. I was like crying on the couch, like screaming pretty much, just like, oh, it was so awful. So Caleb felt really bad leaving, but you know, he had to go to work. So he left and he went to work, and he literally maybe got to work for maybe 5 minutes. And I was in such pain. I literally, I can't even remember what was going through my head. I remember like feeling sick. So I got up and I went and got the trash can. I made it into like the middle of the living room floor, hit the floor, started throwing up in the trash can. Like let's back up. Before that, I had called Caleb and I was like, I don't think I can do this. I need to go back to the hospital. Something's not right. Like I need to go. This pain is like unbearable. And so then that's when I got off the phone with him, got the trash can, ended up throwing up. So I called him again because he had said like, okay, let me talk to them. Like I'll be on my way soon. So I called him when I was throwing up, and I was like, I'm throwing up now, you know, like I told him I was crying. I was like, please hurry. Like, so he's like, okay, I'm coming as fast as I can. So all this time, like our dog Jax was like freaking out. Like I could tell he just knew something was not right, and like he was like right by my side. Like it was so weird. So Caleb gets home, we just like literally jumped in the car. We did not grab anything besides the trash can, and this time we went to a different hospital. So we went to the one that's like 35 minutes away. It's a bigger hospital, and it's just a little better than the one that we went to before. It's still like the same, it's like the same brand, I guess. I don't know what you call it. They're both Baptist hospitals, so they're linked, like they had all my information. So I went to that hospital, and there, oh my gosh, guys, it was awful. Like I got there and I was perfectly fine. Like it was just so weird. It was like just as soon as my cramping started, it lasted maybe 20-25 minutes and it went away. So I went to the hospital anyways, and I waited 4 hours in the emergency room, and they called me back, and like I told them I want checked for everything else. Like they've already told me my pregnancy is too early. They can't figure out if it's the pregnancy that's causing it or what. I want to make sure that nothing else is wrong. They heard the word pregnant and they X-nayed everything else and was like, no, we're focusing on this. So literally I had gone that morning, I forgot to mention that I had went to like a women's urgent care that's connected to my OB office and got fluids and stuff, and like I asked them and they were like, we can't do an ultrasound because it's just so early, there's no point. And they gave me fluids, and they were like, now that you're hydrated, you shouldn't have this cramping again, which is why I went to the hospital later that evening, because I was still having the cramping and I was hydrated. So the ER doctor was very persistent. He was like, we are doing an ultrasound. So I was like, okay. So back for another ultrasound I went. At this point, it was like 10 o'clock in the evening, and Caleb left to go home because the dog had been in his crate for like 7 hours. He was gonna let him out, change, grab some stuff. And so I just went for my ultrasound. I was like, you can't go anyways, like there's no point. And the last time I got my ultrasound, it took like 2 hours to get the results. So I was like, go ahead, like it's gonna be a while. So I went back and got my ultrasound, and they had my results back in like 20 minutes. So this is where I got very, very frustrated and very, very upset. So the ER doctor the whole night just seemed very rushed. He had like a student doctor following him around. Like he just seemed, I mean, the ER was packed full. I don't blame him for feeling rushed, but like I just didn't feel any sympathy at all from this doctor. He came in and he's like, so at this point we think it's ectopic, and he was like, there's a lot of fluid in there. There's, like he said, there's another cyst on my left ovary, and then there was something by my right ovary that they couldn't tell what it was. So they just determined, they were like, it's ectopic. The doctor said there's a few options you can have. One is like a pill you take. It's basically like chemo that will kill off the baby. Or there is surgery. If it's like big enough, they might have to do surgery. Could you imagine being told, yeah, just take this pill, it's gonna kill off the baby, and they think that it's ectopic? I was like, you don't even know for sure. Like, I could literally take this pill and my baby is like perfectly fine in there, you know what I mean? So like, I was so frustrated. So I texted Caleb, I was like, please come back, it's bad news. So he's like, okay, I'm coming, you know? And so he got back, and by that time, an OBGYN had come, and he like pushed on my stomach, he did an exam, and he was asking me all these questions, and he was like, I don't think this is ectopic. He was like, at this point, you're acting perfectly fine, you're not like showing signs of someone that has an ectopic pregnancy. He's like, what I think is that you had some cysts and they burst and they're causing you a lot of pain, which I've had before. I've had them in the past, so I knew that it was kind of similar, but like, I just didn't know because I was pregnant, you know, maybe it's different. And so he did say that he did not feel comfortable sending me home because if it was ectopic and something happened, then he just didn't feel comfortable. So he admitted me for the night, and he was like, I'm gonna check your HCG levels again in the morning. So he admitted me, I stayed the night at the hospital. The next morning they checked my HCG levels and they had gone up a little bit. So he was like, okay, I feel confident sending you home. Like, your levels are going up. That means that the pregnancy is you know, good right now. We just have to make sure it's wherever it is good, you know? So he sent me home, and he's like, if you have any more problems, don't hesitate to come back. So at this point, it was like 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Tuesday. This is like a week after I found out I was pregnant. And I went home, everything was perfectly fine. I went to work Wednesday, like I was good. And then Thursday came around, and I got pretty much almost all the way to work, and my stomach started hurting, like weird. And so I called Caleb. I was like, I think I'm just gonna cancel work. Like, I don't know, I just want to go lay down. So I called my client's parents, and I was like, I can't come, blah blah blah, and they were very understanding, and that's been a blessing. That's a side note. But yeah, so I went home, and Caleb will say now that he thought I was faking it. He thought I just didn't want to go to work. But I was like, no, like, he thought I just had a stomach ache where I needed to go home and use the bathroom and I was gonna be fine. I was like, no, it's just like weird stomach pains. So I went home. About 2 hours later, I went into the same excruciating pain. Like, oh my gosh, it was so awful. So I called my mom. I couldn't get a hold of my mom. Don't ask me why I called my mom, because she's like 9 hours away. I don't really know what she could have done. I think I was just looking for advice on like what I should do, and I knew she was gonna tell me to go to the hospital, but I just called my mom and she didn't answer. So then I called my dad, and I was like, Mom's, you know, I'm in like excruciating pain, and I'm trying to tell him like, I'm in excruciating pain, Mom's not answering, da da da. So my brother called my mom from his phone, she answered him, and so I'm talking to my mom, like I'm talking to my mom through my dad's phone, through my brother's phone, if that makes sense. And they're all just saying, go to the ER, like what are you waiting on, you know, because I was just like screaming on the phone. And my dad is like, call 911, like this is serious. Like, if you really have an ectopic pregnancy and it bursts, like you are bleeding internally, like you could die, you know what I mean? They're literally telling me like, call 911. At this point, I was like, I've already called Caleb, like he's coming home from work, I don't want to call 911 and then Caleb get here, you know? So just like it always did, I, you know, went through it for about 20 minutes and it went away and I was perfectly fine. So I called my mom, I was like, do I go to the hospital still? And she's like, yes. So back to the hospital we went, and side note, my doctor, the OBGYN I saw on like the last time I was at the hospital, he was like, since you're so early, you don't have a doctor yet, just tell them you're my patient, and if you have to come back, just tell them you're my patient and we'll try to get you in quicker. So this time I went to the hospital, again, the same one that I went to on that Tuesday and was admitted to. I got there and I told them that, you know, this doctor told me that I was to come back if I felt this way, and so they got me back pretty quickly. And again, they did another ultrasound, they took more blood, they did more urine tests, like they did all the same stuff they did the past 2 times I had been to the ER. And it was like a little while longer, and they came back and they were like, it was the same ER doctor I saw Tuesday that I was not very happy with. I literally had told them, like, I don't want him, I want someone else. So there's like a younger doctor that talked to me, and then the same doctor from that Tuesday came to tell me the results of the ultrasound. He said, so they see a sac in your uterus. So at that point, Caleb and I just were like, oh my gosh, sigh of relief, because y'all, that was just the most stressful thing, is like, your pregnancy could be ectopic and your tube could burst, and Jax could do that, and you don't know, you know what I mean? Like, it was just so up in the air. It was so stressful. Like, that whole week and a half was torture for me. Like, oh my gosh, the pain was unbearable. So they pretty much just sent us home with, like, I was 4 weeks and 5 days, or 4 weeks and 6 days pregnant at that time. And so they were like, basically the result of this is just, it's from the cysts bursting, and you've just continued to have them. And so they told me there was still one on my left ovary, and there was also one on my right ovary. They said just kind of monitor them, and like, if you get the pain, use a heating pad, you know, to use Tylenol. So then I went home, and it was like a miracle. That was Thursday night. Friday I had like some cramping. Saturday and Sunday was like, Saturday I remember that was when we went to like that elf watch party. I think I vlogged kind of like some of that. And it was so weird, because like every time I would eat hot soup, I would like go into cramping. So I was perfectly fine until I had hot soup that night, and then I kind of started to cramp. But Sunday I was perfectly fine, and since then it's honestly been a breeze. Like, I've been so blessed, knock on wood, with no sickness really. There's been like 2 or 3 days out of the whole time since then that I've really felt kind of a little bit nauseous and not feeling good. I've been blessed with a really healthy and good pregnancy so far since all that craziness. And really, that stuff wasn't even related to my pregnancy. It was just stuff my womanly parts was doing, and I didn't know, like, we didn't know if it was pregnancy related. So yeah, it was just like a really stressful time. And the reason that I haven't talked about it until now was just because, for one, this video is probably going to be quite long, and so I knew that I wanted to just do it in a separate video. And I was still just like, oh my gosh, that week and a half made me so exhausted. It was so bad. And oh gosh, it was just so awful. I can't even, like, I never ever want to feel that kind of pain again. I literally was like, if this is what's labor, if this is what labor is like, I'm in for it, and I'm getting the epidural, because that was literally torture. And the thing was, like, the cramps were not like contractions where they would come for, you know, a minute, and, you know, come every 5 minutes and come for a minute. Like, that I feel like I could handle, because it's only a minute, it comes every 5 minutes or whatever, like, until you're whatever, you know what I mean. But this was like consistent, like excruciating, stabbing, ripping, pulling, like the worst pain I've ever felt in my entire life. I'm so glad I'm past that. So yeah, that is my story of my crazy beginning to pregnancy. I was gonna have Caleb sit down and film this video with me as well, just to kind of get his side of it, but he's at the gym right now, and he has a billion things to do because he starts a new type of job tomorrow within the Air Force. So he's just like really stressed out and really trying to get that stuff taken care of. So I was like, I'll just sit down and do it myself. Sorry if I've been talking so fast. I've been trying to just get this video like and not make it like 3 hours long. So thank you all so much for tuning in and listening to my crazy story. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad that's over, and I'm just looking forward to hopefully having a really healthy pregnancy from here on out, as I have been. At this point, I go back to the doctor Thursday, so this video will be posted Tuesday. So I go back Thursday for my next checkup, and I will be 12 weeks and 5 days on Thursday. So hopefully I will get good news there. If y'all could just say some prayers, because I'm really anxious, that would be greatly appreciated. I love you guys so much and appreciate all of you guys watching, and we will see you in the next video. Bye.